Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's pretty sunny here. You know, we're in November, but at least it's getting a little bit warmer this week. I have some stuff I need to do in my garage. My heat element, oh my gosh. I don't know, like if you live by yourself, you know that sometimes you have to like be the maintenance person for everything that occurs. And I just remember the last time I went to replace the heat element in my water heater, it took like 3 days because it kept leaking every time I installed it. So I'm hoping that this exchange of the heat element will go better. But regardless, I just want to get on here because I just had like this download the other day, and it was bringing up just like God's people. It was so cool, but I was thinking of blood types. Because my research led me to so many different topics, mainly about health, but it started going into a subtopic of blood. Okay. And it was so interesting to me. I really had some profound downloads then. I mean, like, it just blows me away. I kind of wish I would have wrote some of that stuff down. But I know it's internal, so if I need it, I can pull it back out. But, um, I have Rh negative blood. Okay. And the difference between negative blood and positive blood is that negative blood does not have a protein on the outside of their blood, on the outside of their cells. Okay. And if you do have a positive blood type, then you have a protein on the outside of your blood, which is the same protein as a rhesus monkey. Okay, those are like experiment monkeys. It's sad to say, but those are the monkeys they usually do experiments on, medication, health, stuff like that. Okay, so that's why they call it the rhesus factor. Okay, do you have the rhesus factor, which is the protein from the rhesus monkey that is on the positive blood types? Okay. Now, if you have a negative blood type, which I do, there's some very intriguing points to that blood type, okay? It just gets me, it's one of those things where it's like but like nobody can point to the facts of it, okay? I was looking into it, and still to this day, they cannot find the origination of that blood type, okay? There's maybe 10 to 15% of the whole world population that has this blood type. But I will say this, when I was pregnant, okay, anytime a lady does get pregnant, they test your blood to see if you are negative or positive. And the reason for that is this: if you are pregnant as a negative blood type and your baby has a positive blood type, you have to get a shot, okay? A Rogam shot. I couldn't think of the name of it. It's called Rogam. And I basically had to get this when I was pregnant. What happens is it takes my negative blood type and it turns it positive during the pregnancy. Why? Because me as a negative blood type, my body will fight a fetus off because it is a foreign entity if it is not the same blood type as my own. Okay? This is how they realized long time ago that females were dying during childbirth because the blood type, if you had a negative blood type, then you were having miscarriages because sometimes, if you mated with someone that has a positive blood type, then the blood wasn't matching and your body was fighting the baby off. Okay? Isn't that intriguing? So I had a pregnancy. I got the Rogam shot, okay, and my blood was turned positive for the pregnancy. And when the pregnancy was over and my daughter was born, I was given another shot to put my blood back to negative. Okay, that's so strange they can even do that. But the more strange part of this is that my body would fight off a fetus if it wasn't the same blood type. Okay? No other blood does that. Now think about that. Why would it do that? Okay? That's because if you still can't find the origination of the blood, does that not maybe ring a bell that it could be from the dawn of time, right? Because think about it. You were supposed to stay in the same bloodline, okay? Like you're not supposed to mate with foreign things or people, right? So that's probably why then, okay, I'm thinking back then in the beginning of time that blood type was that way, is because if you were to mate with someone else, right, that had a different blood type, your body would not allow that to come to full term. Okay? That is so intriguing. I just find that so interesting. So I started looking up more about Rh negative blood type, okay? If you just go into what your blood type is, you can see that there's a diet that, is connected to it, that you should be eating those specific foods because it helps your blood stay healthy and clean, okay? The food we're given today, the air, the water, everything, that's tainting our blood, okay? So it's not going to be as clear and crystal as it should. But there's so many things that have happened over the few years that have just struck me about this blood type I have. I actually came across a dating website just for Rh negative. It's so funny. But it kind of makes sense though, because you wouldn't want to get a Rogam shot. You would just want your pregnancy to work as it should, right? I was watching this documentary one day and it was talking about Jesus's bloodline, okay? And these people, I think they were, looking up um, they were like in the Middle East. I don't recall exactly what even the documentary was called, but they ended up finding this group of people, the Druids, I think, Druid. I can't even think of what it is. But anyway, they had linked this group of people, their bloodline, back to Jesus, okay? And what is the bloodline? Rh negative. Okay, how crazy. Rh negative blood has a higher spiritual sensitivity. Okay. It's almost like when they were born, they were like already able to be awakened easily. Okay. Because their antennas of their DNA were already positioned to receive the signals from above. Okay. And it could be because maybe those people are spiritual, they're able to receive those messages or information from the heavens, right? To pass on to other people to carry on God's word. How cool. Okay. The more I started thinking about it, I was just like, wow, I never really put any thought into like how significant my blood type is, but it is very significant. Okay. And it is something maybe to be looked at more, because if you consider what different blood types do, if the original blood type is not prone to get a lot of the diseases today, the immune system is very strong in those people. They really don't get sick that often. You just have to consider maybe those people were meant to have a higher calling in life, because they have a connection that is stronger than normal blood types. Okay. I don't know. It's just a possibility just to consider it. I just think it's really cool because when I came to that conclusion years ago that I thought, oh my gosh, this is a part, an avenue of Jesus's bloodline. It has to be, because no blood type will fight a fetus off. Okay. If it's not the same blood type. Okay. Not only that, this blood type is missing a specific protein from a monkey that everyone else has. So, that's kind of intriguing too. But I was looking at where these people are placed throughout the world. And if you look, there's only, like I said, 10 to 15% of the population that even has this blood. But they're grouped in specific areas. They're not all over the world, okay? Like, there's hardly any in China, okay? It's just interesting the placement of these people. And then I was thinking of like the 144,000. It was so strange. I was like, are those the people? Because if you consider where they're located, I don't know. I kind of went all out on that thought. It's been on my mind for a long time, but there was something about that just came up. That like we are all connected to God, but some people have the lineage of that. I guess you could say royal lineage if you're connected to that. And that is so cool. I never really understood the significance of the blood type until then. It's really nifty if you look into it. And if that is considered a part of Jesus's bloodline, then their DNA would encompass all races, right? Because if God is of the world, then so would that bloodline, right? So you would encompass all of that. And that's what I said, like when I went through my spiritual awakening, my love for like just myself or my family, it literally expanded to the world. It was so cool. It was like one day God just like was showing me from a cloud view the world and like the hurt and the pain. and everything that was going on. And I just cried my eyes out. I felt like the deep, deep pain from God that he was feeling for the world. It was the most intense emotion I've ever had. I mean, it's really cool when you get into God consciousness because you can feel what he feels for specific things. Like, so you can take on the view of that, you can see what he's feeling about specific things. It's so cool. And that's why I was like, man, maybe the bloodline is really, a thought before. So, that's kind of nifty. And that'd be, I just feel like, there's so many things in the world that we don't know. And that is really important that we do try to keep things alive and awake, and people aware of things from the beginning, because things were created and made a certain way for a specific purpose, right? So if you just consider that every other blood type is it like a mutation of the original, right? Because if the original has these specific values and properties that no other blood does hold, then maybe that's the original one. Okay, so if you just consider, maybe the original has healing within it for this health issue that has went on all this time, you know? So I don't know. I just felt like that was really key to put a message out there. We're all related to God, but I feel like there is a group of people in the world that still do have God's lineage, blood wise. And, that could be maybe why some of those people feel such a deep and strong connection to him. Because I just feel like, yeah, I can't see you, Lord, but I can like connect with you at any moment. I don't have to go through a middleman. I don't have to do anything. I can just, pray and like there it is, or I feel it, or I get it, or I know it, or you know what I mean? The connection is so strong. And it's been like that my whole life, but I never really knew that I was actually communicating with God until my 30s. I had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I've been talking to you all this time. It was profound. But it kind of just made me realize that my connection could be deeper because of my blood type, So, I don't know. Raise a hand to the Most High for sure. So, I love you guys. I hope you have a good day. Maybe get the information on what blood type you have. Look up the diet of it. See what diseases you're prone to. You can be proactive and keep yourself healthy in life just by looking up that information on yourself. Okay?